Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of Bree in the Garden. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about seeds. I love seeds, so I'm really excited to talk about this one. I'm going to walk you through how I make all my plans for seed starting, and we'll go over some of the varieties I'm especially excited about getting started for this year. I love a good spreadsheet, so I'll also walk you through the spreadsheet that I have made for all of my seed starting process, and then let's actually start some seeds, and I'll show you how I do that and grow them on into adorable little seedlings. Okay, so I have a few things here with me today. The first is my seed box. This is a very special custom made seed box that my dad made for me and gave to me for Christmas this year. So this is where I store all of my seeds, very organized. I love this thing. I also have this book here, Cut Flower Garden, has a lot of information about flower seeds in it. For the vegetable seeds, I've been doing that a lot longer than the flower seeds, so most of that information is up here, so I don't have a book for that one. Another thing I have is my 2021 Garden Vision Board. I don't think I mentioned this before, but I am about to have a baby in just 3 weeks. So this garden season for me, I really have to keep myself in check and not get in over my head because I'll be taking care of a newborn in addition to taking care of the gardens. So this is supposed to help me stay on track with seed starting, especially because as I'm starting seeds, if I get the urge to go and start like 100 zinnia seeds, I'll remember that I only have one place to plant zinnias this year, and I probably shouldn't start 100. So yeah, that's my vision board for the year. It's just like a layout of all the garden beds I have and kind of what I plan to put in each one. There's no way I'll stick to this plan totally, but it's kind of a rough guide. The next thing I have is my garden journal. I've used this one for a couple years, and I just jot down anything garden related, notes, observations, ideas for now, ideas for later, anything I learn or see or like, really anything. So I've done a lot of research already for the new plants that I plan on growing this year. I'm going to be doing a lot more flowers than I've ever done before, so there's a lot of seeds I don't have experience with. So I've done a lot of research. Like for example, these are the sunball flowers I plan to grow this year, and the Gomphrena flowers I plan to grow. I've never done either of them before, so I went on the internet and used books and YouTube and all different sources to kind of figure out how to start the seeds, as well as grow the plants in the garden, harvest, vase life. Any information to the plant is just in here for my reference. This is probably the most important thing that I use with my seed starting. This is my spreadsheet. This is just a version I printed out, I don't know, a while ago, but I have the version on here, and I will figure out a way to like put this in the video, like a screen share or something. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet. You can see that I have a row for each plant that I plan to start, and then I mark down what the last frost date is. If you saw my first video, I explained how I garden here at home in Rochester, New York, and then I also garden in the Thousand Islands, which is a bit more north, so I'm working with a couple different zones. So my last frost date is not really that concrete for me, but I do plantings around Mother's Day and Memorial Day as a last frost date. So take anything in the spreadsheet with a grain of salt because my last frost dates are kind of all over the place. But yeah, so working back from last frost date, that would be week 0, and then I mark down the week that it is until the last frost, and then after the last frost I mark down the week that it is after the last frost. And yeah, so then for each plant, based on the research that I've done, and most of that research lives in my garden journal. Someday I hope to have it live in the spreadsheet as well, but I'm just not that organized right now. I will mark down kind of what my general idea is for when I should be starting that seed indoors, or winter sowing it, or direct seeding it outside. So let's take one as an example. So Feverfew, this is a new one for me this year, and based on the research that I did, people say all different things, right? They say start this 4 weeks before, and then they say start this 8 weeks before. So I've kind of marked down the weeks that I would possibly start this seed inside. We are in this week here, and I do plan to start this seed this week because why not get a jump on it? So yeah, when I actually do go ahead and start that seed, I will mark it like in, I guess I'm using this bright blue to mark when I actually did it this year. Green just means that I plan to do it this week. Yeah, so I have this for everything. And then I also mark down kind of generally when I plan to transplant this plant. It's just a way for me to remember, like, this one can go out before last frost, this one goes out right around the last frost, or there's a few that you actually want to wait until after the last frost to plant, like my peppers, my tomatoes, some other things that don't get put out until it's a little bit warmer consistently. So yeah, that's the spreadsheet. It works for me. Okay, so now I have all of the seed packets that I plan to start. This is just the flowers. We'll do the vegetables next. But yeah, these are the flowers I plan to start for the 2021 season. And I have them in order of what gets started first to what gets started last. So we'll just go through them and talk about anything interesting, fun, exciting. First up are my Lisianthus seeds. I saw everybody growing Lisianthus and I wanted to do it too. So I got this packet of seeds from Johnny's, and it's the most beautiful pink little flower. But I've already started this like a really long time ago. It says I started this on February 1st. And so it's been over a month. And I know that they're really slow growers, but I've been tracking along with some other people's growth on these things, and mine are just really tiny. So I don't know if I chose the wrong variety. Mine are called Arena 3 Baby Pink. And I've heard other people growing some other varieties. Never heard anyone mention this. So I'm not sure if I chose the wrong variety or if I'm doing it wrong or something, but mine are really small, so I'll go get them and show you how small they are. Okay, so here's my little Lisianthus babies. You can see one here. I have one that looks like it's a decent size. Like, I'm happy with that one, but the rest of them are super, super tiny, and they just don't seem to be growing. I know that's like a thing, but I'm not sure how well this is going to work out, but I had to give it a try. Okay, so next is lavender. This was kind of an afterthought. I didn't plan on growing this year, but then I had this idea like, oh, I need lavender for my garden out front because hopefully the deer won't eat this. But yeah, so someone from Facebook sent these to me in the mail, and they were packed for 2019, so they're not the freshest seeds that I could have worked with, but it's what I had. So I've since learned that lavender seeds should really be fresh for best results, which may explain why I only got 6 seeds to germinate on this lavender that I started inside. But that is definitely better than nothing, and they are doing all right. You can see there's one that's bigger than the rest. Again, these are really slow growers, which is why I've already started them. And yeah. Also did a winter sowing of lavender because I heard people have a lot of success with that. There's been no growth on that yet, but things are just starting to kind of warm up and transition into spring here. So hopefully I'll get a lot more germination with the winter sown lavender. Next is one that I am very excited about this year. I am jumping on the Icelandic poppy train, and I have already gotten these seeds started. There's no germination yet since I just did it like 4 days ago. But yeah, I got these seeds from Floret, and I got the Pastel Meadows mix. And I'm really excited to see if I can do this. It's definitely like a challenge for me this year. But we shall see. I also had this packet lying around, so I did do both to kind of compare if one or the other has better germination rate or whatnot. Okay, so those are the flower seeds that I've started already indoors. And next up is some seed starting that I'll be doing this week, which includes the Casperidia, the sunball flower. I'm really excited about these because they're just so cute, and they also work really well as dried flowers. So I'll be starting these inside and then transplanting them out around last frost. Next is a poppy that I actually grew last year and was able to save the seeds from. So I have this whole thing of poppy seeds that I saved from last year. So I did do a winter sowing of these poppies, and I have seen some growth on those just in the past few days. So that's really exciting. But I'll also start some of these indoors. I know people say that you should just direct seed these outdoors and that you don't like being transplanted, but I did try to direct sow these seeds last year and none of them came up. I don't know if they got eaten by something, but I did some transplants and they were beautiful, and I definitely want those in my garden again, so that's what I'm gonna do. So here are the winter sown seeds that I've been talking about. Let's see if I can get in here. Yeah, you can see just a little baby green in here. Those are the breadseed poppies that I've just seen in the past few days. Then it will be Feverfew. This is also one I've never grown before, but I just love how adorable and cute these little white flowers are, and I love adding them to the bouquets that I make to put around my house. So this one will also be started indoors and set out as a transplant around last frost. So cute. Okay, next is one that I am super excited for. These are my sweet peas. So I also got one kind from Floret that's new to me called Susie Z. I did grow some sweet peas last year, and also was able to save some of the seeds from 2020's sweet peas that are in here. Sweet pea seeds falling everywhere. But yeah, so I grew these last year. Didn't really know what I was doing, just kind of started some seeds indoors and threw them out there, and I was obsessed. I want like 100 times more of these this year. So I will be sowing these mixtures that I have picked up from random places, as well as the seeds that I saved and this one new variety from Floret. I did go ahead and treat myself, and I got the deep root trainers from Gardener's Supply to give these really good start indoors. So I've done all my research about how to kind of step this up from last year, and I'm really excited to see how this works out. Next is another new to me variety. This is stock. This is also kind of an afterthought. I'm just throwing in there to try. One of our local libraries here has a seed library where you can go and pick up some free seed packets. And this is one that I saw and was just like, I've got to give that a try. So again, did lots of research about this one. So I'm feeling pretty confident I can probably do this. I'm gonna do a winter sowing of this as well as an indoor sowing to see which works better. Another new to me one this year is Sweet William. I just love the way these flowers look. I got a really early spring bouquet once that had this in it, and ever since then I was like, I really want to grow it. So also found this at the seed library, and I plan on starting this indoors actually this week. Okay, so next is another one I'm really excited about, Gomphrena. I'm really excited about starting this. Last year I did get a plant called Truffula Pink Gomphrena from the garden center, because I'd actually seen Laura from Garden Answers YouTube, and she had once had like all this Gomphrena in front of her house, and it was just so beautiful, and I loved those little balls, and you can pick them and they're adorable in little bouquets, and they're really great dried. So I will be growing a mix of Gomphrena from Baker Creek this year, and again, this one will be started indoors probably next week and get transplanted out. Okay, this one's also a new to me one. This is Chinese Forget-Me-Not. I love little dainty flowers, as you can probably tell so far. So these ones will be great for bouquets, and again, started indoors, transplanted out. All right, so also from Floret, this is new to me. These are dahlia seeds. Last year was my first year growing dahlias. I just picked up some random tubers from like the Home Depot or something because I wanted to see if I could do it. And I was successful in growing dahlias last year. They're not my favorite flower though. I think they're like too fancy for me. It was cool and I did like them and they looked good in bouquets and stuff. But yeah, I think that the dahlias I'll get from this seed packet might be a little bit less like ornate and fancy. So I'm really excited to see, one, if I can grow these, and two, what they look like. Okay, next is one I have grown before. These are 4 o'clocks. I saved the seeds from our 4 o'clock plants last year, and we'll just be starting those. I grow these not for my own gardens, but my mom loves these, so I grow some plants for her, and she puts them in a pot on the steps at the cottage right next to the kitchen, because these open in the night, and we are out around that area in the nighttime, in the late afternoon, nighttime, when we can see them open. So they're really beautiful, and I'll be growing these again this year. Next is a new kind of poppy. It's a California poppy. I haven't grown a California type of poppy before, so I picked these up from Floret, and we'll see how it goes. And of course, no garden is complete without marigolds. So yeah, I just have your standard marigolds. This one's a little fluff ball. I got this from the seed library, so I will be starting my marigolds indoors, but I really don't do this too early because I find that whatever you do with marigolds, they do fine. So okay, next is one of my very, very favorites, which is cosmos. I grow cosmos every year because they're just so whimsical and beautiful, and I love them. I typically have grown cosmos pretty standard like these. The Sensations mix is one I've done a lot of. This kind. But I kind of want to step out and try some new kinds. So I got a cupcake blush kind from Floret this year. And I also, this is one of the 2021 things I'm most excited about, got an apricot lemonade Cosmo from Baker Creek seeds. So I'll be putting a few new types of Cosmos in the mix this year. All right, another new to me one is Bachelor's Buttons. I think these are so cute and I love the color of these. So I'll be trying these this year. And I'm gonna do a winter sewing of these, hopefully like today. I know it's getting a little late because like winter's over, but I'm still gonna do that. And I'm also gonna try these indoors and also direct sewn to kind of see what works best so that in subsequent years, I'll know which method to use. Okay, so probably my all-time favorite flower to grow is zinnias. I grow a ton of zinnias, all different kinds every year because at my parents' cottage, we have a whole garden bed that's dedicated to zinnias. And we really like to make sure we grow a lot of different varieties so that garden looks great. I also put a lot of zinnias out in my own garden because I love to cut them, just throw them in a mason jar, put them around the house, give them to people. So yeah, I have a collection of zinnias from over the years that I love. These are the giant corals. These are the cactus variety. This one's called Salmon Rose. My mom really likes these ones. They're not my favorite, but the candy cane striped ones. We have some little ones that we put up in the front towards the edge. And then the Northern Lights. I really like the colors of these ones the best, but what I am really excited about is I did pick up one new variety of zinnia this year from Floret. It is the Queen Red Lime variety. I just loved kind of the antique-y, unique look of this one, so this is our new one for this year. Next is one thing I'm going to try again this year. I tried really hard last year and was not able to grow a single sunflower. I planted them out in the garden directly because that's what I thought was the right thing to do, and every single seed I planted got eaten by birds or squirrels. I'm not sure exactly what, probably both, but so then I was like, okay, well, I'll start some seeds indoors, so hopefully those creatures don't eat my transplants, and I did that. They ate all of them. I was just unable to grow a single sunflower last year. So this year I'm going to obviously try again and just like figure out how to protect them better. I don't know, we'll see. I'm definitely going to try both methods again, direct sowing as well as transplants. But this is a dwarf sunflower that I picked up that I think will work pretty good for cut flowers and bouquets, and it gets a lot of plants on one stem. So this is a new one I'm really excited about, hopefully getting at least one sunflower this year. Okay, and this is the last thing. These are nasturtiums. I love putting nasturtium seeds right in the corners around the beds. I don't start these indoors. I just direct sow these directly into the corners of the beds, and they just explode with nasturtiums. You can eat them. Sometimes we add them to salads and stuff, but they're just really pretty and they make the garden beds beautiful. This is the kind I've always grown before and they're really nice, but this is a new kind I picked up this year. Definitely a different color than I've seen before, so I'm really excited to see how this looks. Okay, so I almost forgot because I just had to take this jar out of the freezer. Is this year I am growing larkspur for the first time, and I'm really excited because they're just gorgeous. So again, I am going to be doing a winter sowing of these. Like now I need to do that because like I said, winter's over, and we'll see. I don't remember. I have to look at my spreadsheet about how I'm going to start these. Right. I'm going to winter sow these, and then I'm also going to direct sow these right out in the garden, and we'll see which does better. Look what I'm doing.
Sorting seeds?
I'm making a video.
Oh.
I'm going to be a YouTuber.
Ah.
Wait till you see my video. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
Okay. So I had to take a break to have a little snack because when you're very pregnant, you get hungry all the time. So literally eating forkfuls of peanut butter. I highly recommend it. Okay, so onto the vegetables. We'll do this quick because this video is going to be really long. But some of the things I've already started so far are my herbs. Thyme I already started, but actually I was out in the garden the other day and saw that my thyme is gonna come back from last year. Started rosemary, started summer savory, started oregano, but my oregano is also still holding on from last year, and started sage. I also think my sage will come back. I have to cut it back and see what's going on down by the lower level, but I think this one will come back. And some scallions. So here are the herbs that I started, it looks like on February 17th. Still really small, but that's why I started them so early, is because they're slow growers. And my oregano didn't really have any good germination, but that's okay because my oregano is still doing all right from last year. Okay, so also in the herb world, what I grow a lot of every year is cilantro. I just direct seed these seeds right in the ground, a couple of different successions starting right early in the spring, and these do great. I also will grow basil. I grow a lot of basil every year, and I do start these as transplants inside so they can get bigger, and then they go out when it has warmed up a bit, after the last frost, even a little bit. Next, lettuce. I have so many lettuce seeds. I love growing lettuce. Sometimes I do a couple transplants just for fun, but I typically direct sow my lettuce and do the cut and come again method. And I have just all different kinds of lettuce. I love growing lettuce. It's the best. Okay, next I have spinach. I also grow spinach and eat it like lettuce. Because when you steam it, it's like you have all this spinach and then it steams down and you like have none. So I eat it in salads and things like that. So I will start direct sowing this out in the garden ASAP. Also arugula, like lettuce. Just direct sow this in the garden as well, cut and come again method, and I get tons of arugula and I love it. I also do some mustard greens because it again is like lettuce and I eat it in salads. And I do also have some kale mixes that I grow like lettuce. I also grow just like different kinds of kale seeds to get bigger kale plants that I harvest the leaves of for salads, cooking greens. I put them in smoothies. Just the curled variety I got for this year. I like to grow Napa cabbage. I'm not crazy about a lot of cabbage, but I do like Chinese dishes a lot, so that's why I grow the Napa cabbage. Okay, so I also grow cucumbers. I grew way too many cucumbers last year, so this year I'm gonna pare it back, but I just direct sow the cucumbers right in the garden. I've tried starting transplants before, but I didn't really find that it gave me much of an advantage in terms of like how long it took for the direct sown ones to catch up. So I'll also be growing some zucchini and summer squash as well. And then next is one of my favorite things to grow, peas. I don't know why they're so fun to grow. Maybe because they're just like one of the earliest things you can start to see growing, or because you can just pluck them off right in the garden and eat them. But I will be growing two types of peas this year. I'll be growing the sugar snap peas as well as the shelling peas. And for both kinds, I think I have a dwarf variety and a full-size variety that I'll plant direct sown out in the garden at the same time so that the dwarf ones will grow and produce fruit, and I'll get that, and then the full-size varieties will start producing fruit right when the dwarf varieties are kind of petering out. I also will be growing a lot of beans this year. This is my favorite kind, the Tavera bush beans. They're thinner and more delicate than some of the other beans, so I really like those. And I also have a pole bean that I plan on growing on a new arched like cattle panel trellis. One side will have my sweet peas and one side will have these pole beans. Next, I've already started my peppers and eggplants for the year because you want to get an early start on these. They haven't sprouted yet, so there's nothing to show, but I started the jalapenos, the King of the North sweet peppers, and the yellow sweet peppers. The Jimmy Nardellos and the Icos didn't make the cut this year. And then I also started my eggplants. I really only grow the long, skinnier eggplants because I found that they're like more tender and they're just what I like to eat and use the most. So I started these different types of long, skinny purple eggplant. So next is tomatoes. I have a ton of different kinds of tomato seeds that I've collected over the years. I'm definitely gonna pare it back this year. Last year I grew like one of each kind just to like really figure out which ones I liked the best. And not one that was a major disappointment last year was this Brad's Atomic tomato from Baker Creek. Like their catalog says it's their #1 tomato and that everybody loves it. But we grew it and we didn't like it. They were just like these black tomatoes that never really ripened, and they didn't have, I don't know, maybe you need to grow them somewhere hotter than I am, but I didn't like these. What I did like the most was these honey drop tomatoes from Fruition Seeds. They were so sweet and so good. So we'll be growing a lot more of these. I typically grow more cherry and smaller tomato varieties than bigger ones, but I did really like this orange bigger tomato, so I'll be doing this again. Yeah, and these Gold Nugget orange cherry tomatoes. And then I will also be growing carrots again. I like to grow these red carrots and like the rainbow blends of carrots, and these just get direct seeded out into the garden. And then I guess we'll finish on one of my favorite things to grow ever, radishes. Always just direct seed these out in the garden. You can do that super early and they're super fast to grow. So then you have a beautiful little radish in no time at all. My favorite type of radish to grow are the French breakfast radish. So I got more fresh seeds from Fruition Seeds this year to grow these. So yeah, a lot of vegetables here, but because my garden will be growing on the flower side, the vegetable side will be cutting back a bit, but that's okay because last year I honestly had like more vegetables than I could even eat or really share with my family. So it's okay that we'll be pulling back a little bit there. I do have this little packet of seeds all bundled up and ready to direct sow out in the garden, like as soon as possible. Probably not this week because our temperatures are still going to be below freezing pretty consistently at the nighttime. But as soon as it warms up just a little bit, I will be direct seeding in the garden some peas, different kinds of peas. I will also be getting some spinach out in the garden ASAP. Some radish, some kale, and this is like a hearty lettuce mix that will go out direct in the garden as soon as possible. And it looks like these were some free seeds I've gotten from Baker Creek over the years with my order. One of them's called Rouge de Vert, so gotta assume that'll be cold hardy. And this one is called Merveille de Quatre Saisons, so that means 4 seasons, so probably cold hardy as well. And yeah, also the arugula will be going out. So this little bundle of seeds will be my how early can I start, and you know, how much can I push the season little experiment this year to get out as soon as possible. So I'll probably make another video on that and you'll see how that goes. Okay, so this is my seed starting rack. This is a rack that my dad helped me build many years ago. And it's just shop lights on these adjustable pulleys and has 3 different levels. Yeah, and I typically start the seeds here, and then as they grow and get bigger, they will come out here and live in this garage. Pardon the mess right now. We're just finishing up a kitchen remodel, so this has been working as a workshop. But yeah, so I'll string up all of my grow lights back there in a row, and the plants will just sit on the floor and grow under the lights in here until they're ready to go out in the garden. You can see I've got all my seed starting supplies just here, and yeah, we'll be cleaning out this big mess. Well, thank you for joining for the episode today. I know at the beginning of the episode I said we'd actually be doing some seed starting today, but I don't feel like doing that anymore, so we'll probably do that in the next video. So yeah, if you liked the video, like it or subscribe to it or me if you like it or me, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.